Welcome to my presentation on manifesting with the 8 phases of the moon. I want to start off by showing you these cards, which are the Moonology cards. And each one has a beautiful picture of the moon and the different phases of the moon and the signs that the moon is in, such as right now we're in a new moon of Aquarius. So it is a nice way to integrate the 8 phases of the moon and learn more about the connections in terms of inspiration for setting intentions. Some people will use these cards to pick a time where something will happen, and that's not how I use the Moonology cards. I use them for educational purposes on how to integrate the astrological signs and the meanings of the astrological signs during the phases of the moon's travel across the sky. Yesterday, December the 31st, there was a new moon. So 2025 starts in a new moon. And the sign that the new moon is in is the sign of Aquarius, which goes with the astrological sign that we're in. So with the new moon in Aquarius, it's about bringing love into the situation, which is a nice way to start off the new year. With the new moon, it is a waxing phase, which means growth and new beginnings. And with the new moon itself, the quality of it is new beginnings, a new start or a fresh start. So you're starting with a blank canvas. So with the first moon phase, the new moon, in a book that I've written with regards to creating goals to follow the moon patterns for an easy structure to integrate goals. This moon phase is new beginnings, fresh start, and a blank canvas. And the imagination that I encourage people to work with when they're visualizing is envision what you're longing for. So the first phase of the moon, the new moon, is imagining what you long for, and the connection or the human connection that I make with that visualization is values, human values, which is a really easy way to integrate intention rather than going into diagnosing, comparison, competition, all of those internal thought reflexes that we have when we're stimulated. If we can tap into what we value and what we hope to bring in to our life, it's easier to set goals. There's no rules, there's no shoulds, there's no having to do it. It's just starting to consider and explore what is meaningful to us. And for that purpose, I use the values. And so some of the values for this month could be home, family, support, employment, to contribute, for belonging, connection, friendship, community, health, fun, adventure, to be seen, to be heard, to experience loving kindness, relationships, and intimacy. And we may be triggered by hearing all these values and wanting to say to ourselves, yes, I want all of those. But what I would encourage people to do is to stop, pause, and figure out which value has the most heat in the moment. What are you most motivated by? So for example, if you're wanting a new home, you'll have some heat around that need. If you have a need for belonging, which one is heavier? Which one speaks to you the most? Is it for belonging, or is it for a new home? Generally, if we have too many needs, we won't meet any of them. So if you can choose one, maybe two at tops, you have more likelihood to find connection to meeting those values. So what you're hearing introduced here is that we are able to meet our own needs. And so this system of tapping into what we value that is meaningful enough for us to change, we're more likely to do it if we can start to isolate the ones that are most meaningful in the moment. That doesn't mean it's permanent, it just means in this moment spontaneously. Those other needs will rise up on the scale of 1 to 10 in the heat zone over different times in our life or day or week or month. But right now in this moment, what would you like to focus on in the month of January? Knowing that in another phase we can change that if it spontaneously changes. Nothing is permanent. However, we won't recognize that until we start to practice and integrate a system that we can explore how to work with it. How do we work with that spontaneity? How do we work with changing intentions or creating new realities? So beginning with the first moon, or the first phase of the new moon, which was yesterday here in Victoria, however, it's today in other parts of the world, so the 1st of January. It would be to stop, reflect on what you value. The second phase we move into is the crescent moon, and the crescent moon phase is from January the 1st to January the 5th, and that focuses on intentions, hopes, and wishes. So the first phase is about vision, creating a vision, or imagining the dream. The second phase is to write it out. Write out what your intention is, or your hopes or wishes. So yesterday and today we're envisioning or reflecting or considering what is it we would like for 2025, or make it smaller and doable, the month of January. And then during the 1st to the 5th, we would write it out, and it might change. Writing it out from thinking is already manifesting. If it stays in your thinking process, it just becomes confusing. So writing it out is the first step to manifestation. The third phase is the first quarter moon, and this year it is on January the 6th. And this phase is about challenges, decisions, and actions. So from the 1st to the 5th, you've had a nice leisurely time considering what your intentions are. You've written them out, which is the first phase of manifestation. Now it's the actionable stage. So now is where you start to consider choices to meet the challenges for those dreams, hopes, and wishes. The fourth phase is another period of time where you have an opportunity to rest in that phase, and that's from January the 7th to the 12th. This phase is the gibbous moon, and this is where you can adjust, refine, and edit your goals. They're not concrete. Just because you say it or write it out doesn't make it so. Life is spontaneous, and when we start to follow the phases of the moon and go with the essence of each phase, we can tap back into that spontaneity and challenge ourselves to get over the shoulds, the have-tos, the rules, the constraints, the self-judgments. So this is a really nice, gentle way to tap into what you value, create a dream around it, and know that you can change it. It's spontaneous. So the gibbous moon, like I said, is adjust, refine, and edit. Which means it's the phase of reflection. Reflecting on the dream, reflecting on the actionable ways that you thought you could achieve that dream, and just consider it. Go into consideration, pause for a moment, and ask yourself, is this the best way to meet my dream? Is the action I'm taking one that I can be proud of, for example? Is it going to harm me? Is it going to harm other people? So it's the time to pause and meditate. Reflect on the action, as the next phase is the full moon. This is when the growing moon stops growing and it comes into a full phase. This is the phase that it is done. Whatever you've considered consciously, or even your unconscious actions during the first 2 weeks of January, that is what you're committing to, and it is done in this phase. So when you create an intention, you write it out, and you don't change it, even if it's gnawing at your stomach and it's not the right form that you want to go with. By the full moon, it is done. It's been created. And so what this pattern of setting intention is, it's about learning how to set intentions, but it's also integrating a new behavioral pattern through understanding and clarity. So the full moon phase is designed to have confidence. And it might not be there right away, but over time, by following this pattern repeatedly, what will happen is your confidence will grow. Your confidence in making decisions and choices for yourself. There will be less moving on to other people and asking them if you're doing the right thing, which interferes with your manifestation. It becomes their manifestation. So you start manifesting whatever it is that they tell you to do, and it's no longer anything that has meaning for you. It actually can spiral you into increased self-doubt and confusion. So this is also another way to move out of self-doubt and confusion by trusting yourself. It is a system of developing self-trust, support, and acknowledging your own sense of knowingness, what's right for you. The next phase, the sixth phase, is the disseminating moon. And it's another resting period from January 14th to the 20th. And it's about having gratitude for your initiative, having gratitude for taking the time to have a vision, to write out your vision, to consider how to manifest your vision, and checking in to find out if indeed it is the right action for you and for others. So once you have this gratitude, this is the time you would share it with someone, and you would share it with enthusiasm. So this goal is not something that you would share for the first 14 days of January. So tomorrow when you go to work, or when you see your friends later today, you wouldn't blast your goals out to them, because the strength of the buildup of your practice hasn't grown any roots yet. So the first 14 days is growing the roots of your vision, and then you would share it, and then you would share it enthusiastically, and that becomes your commitment. So then when we have the 7th phase, which in January this year is on the 21st, that's when you release, let go, and forgive. Forgive any bumbling mistakes you might have made from January the 1st to the 21st. We're only human. We're not going to get it right on the first time, the second time, or even the last time, right? So it's about learning how to be gentle with yourself and forgive other people for any interactions that they've had with regards to your goals. That's not an energy you would want to take into the future. Goal setting, intention, is other people's negative energy. So release it. Let go of the past. Let go of the hurts. So this is the phase of empathy for others, but self-empathy for yourself. So it is a nice practice for those that have not been trained in empathy. And that empathy training happens before you're 6 years old. So if you are someone who doesn't understand empathy for other people, don't beat yourself up. It wasn't integrated through the learning system of your childcare minders, your educators, your parents. We can learn empathy anytime in our lifetime, and this pattern introduces it naturally. Self-empathy, most of us have self-empathy because we have emotions. And so some people won't have empathy for others, but they'll learn empathy through their own pain if they can start to understand that other people have the same emotions. The 8th phase and the final phase before the new moon is the balsamic stage. Balsamic. And it is from January the 22nd to the 28th. And it is the time to surrender. Surrender to your goals. Let them manifest, whether they manifest in the moment, tomorrow, next week, or at some point through the year. You've planted the seeds for these intentions, and they're going to come in some way or another. However, we are not in control of the time. So surrender, let them go, and rest and recuperate. In time for the next new moon, which is January the 29th. So by letting go of January's intentions, letting the seeds plant, and whatever's going to grow will grow sometime during the year. One of the reasons to surrender is so that you can be fresh to set February's intentions. So with this pattern of goal setting, it has a lot of learning opportunities for ingrained behavior that we habitually react to. And so it is it is a beginning to start changing the inner habitual behavior into more consciously led actions. So turning reactions into conscious actions. And in the book I wrote on this, the very first stage prior to the new moon in January is the consideration of what you want to manifest in 2025. And so it's the general dream, it's the overview of what you would like to happen in 2025. And then I break it down into 4 stages, and the 4 stages follow the pattern of nature. So it's the 4 seasons. When you think of 2025 and you say, I would like to be in a relationship in 2025, and then you have an expectation, the relationship is just simply going to happen. There's a lot of disappointment at the end of the year when there's no relationship and you say, my intentions never are manifested for me, so this doesn't work. What's missing in that equation is your accountability, your conscious actions towards introducing yourself to that new relationship. So the overview for the year may be, I would like to have a new relationship for 2025. So how are you going to break it down and make it doable? So what will you do during the spring season to manifest your perfect relationship? What will you do during the summer to manifest your perfect relationship? What will you do in the fall to manifest your perfect relationship? So there's 4 seasons. So you start to refine it. You have an idea in the winter. Well, who do I want to be in my perfect relationship? So that might be what we do during the winter stage, which is right now, January, February, March. So working on self-development, that might be fitness, it might be diet, it might be how we present ourselves. Do we feel confident? Moving on to the next month, which is spring, which is when the seeds sprout. What will we do in the spring towards that new relationship? Will we join different clubs, groups, activities? Will we go to music venues? Will we start to socialize more in the community? How are we going to make ourselves available to meet someone that will be a candidate for a perfect relationship? And then in the summer, hopefully by then you're dating and you're going out with people to find out if you have shared values and can share experiences and see yourself with that person. And perhaps by next fall, winter, you'll be in a space to have a committed relationship. But it's not just going to happen willy-nilly, unconsciously, just because you've put it down on a vision board. I'd like to have a relationship. There needs to be a structured plan to create that reality. And so I love this pattern of manifestation because it's starting to teach personal accountability. It's starting to change habitual behavior into conscious actions. And it's an introduction to connecting to your own value system. And it's that value system that is going to improve and heal relationships or bring that divine feminine or masculine into your reality. So I'll put a link in the description on the name of the book that I've written. And also, if you want to contact me for any personal coaching or mentoring, my background is somatic education through the Feldenkrais method. Also, I teach a language system, somatic dialogue, which is based on nonviolent communication practice. However, it's been integrated through the somatic system of learning of Feldenkrais, and also it is founded on meditation and spatial awareness in the environment from feng shui. So I look forward to hearing from you if this is something that interests you, but please do enjoy the information here and by all means start developing your intentions. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.